right, and as we mentioned before, and a couple of callers mentioned, we have a guest with us this morning who is running for a Lake County sheriff in next year's election, and that is none other than Jason Gore. So, Jason, if you can, kind of introduce yourself and kind of give people your background and why you're interested in the position.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Gore, and I am a candidate for the Lake County Sheriff's position. I am 53 years old, born and raised in Hammond, Indiana. I began my law enforcement career in 1998 as a Maryville police officer assigned to patrol. After about 2.5 years of that, I was assigned to the DEA task force where I worked from 2000 to about 2004, and then I was hired by the ATF as a special agent. I was initially assigned to South Bend, where I worked out of the St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Unit on a newly formed violent crimes task force. And then in 2009, I was able to come home here back to the region, assigned to the Maryville Field Office, which encompasses the 12 northwestern counties here in Indiana. I worked as a field agent. I had some pretty good success. You know, I worked a lot of the RICO cases. In fact, all of them. I did 5 RICO cases with a great team of men and women. We convicted a lot of gang members, solved a lot of homicides, had some really great success in just making Hammond, East Chicago, and Gary a safer place to live and work. And then, let's see, in 2017, I was promoted to the resident agent in charge of the Maryville Field Office, so I went from being a field agent to a supervisory special agent. There, I grew the office. I started a second violent crimes task force, brought on more partners. We had... And still have very, very good success. There's a lot of great agents working there very hard, and task force officers in partnership in fulfilling the ATF mission. And then in 2023, I became the assistant special agent in charge of the Chicago Field Division for ATF, which essentially put all of northern Indiana and all of central and northern Illinois under my command. So I had 7 ATF groups that I oversaw, and some 90 counties across the 2 states. It was a big job. And then in March of this year, I retired, and I decided I was going to run for Lake County Sheriff. Why am I a different candidate is really my perspective. You know, I've worked in probably 25 states, working cases and supporting ATF operations. I've worked with some of the best and worst law enforcement agencies that this country has, and I've seen, examples of both.
So let me ask you. I mean, you've worked as a local police officer, so you understand working the streets and that approach. You've also, though, been a federal agent, and in my civilian capacity of probably not totally understanding law enforcement as well as I should. My view always is the feds are kind of the top of the chain, if you will. I mean, you work your way up, and you get to be a federal officer, and you were a federal officer. You were in charge. You were again a very senior officer. You've worked with a lot of departments. Okay, there's no doubt about it. The federal agents, the cooperation that goes on between federal agencies and local law enforcement is tremendous. So you've got all of this experience. So why Lake County Sheriff?
Well, I was born and raised here. This is my home. My mom was born in Hammond. I was born in Hammond. My son was born in Hammond. I have family all across Lake County and friends. This is where I live. And now that I'm in retirement, I'm not planning on leaving. This is my home. And I have a skill set that is different. I have experiences and training and contacts that are different. And my goal, quite simply, is to bring all of that and coalesce that into making the Lake County Sheriff's Department the best that it can be.
And by the way, 845-1100, if you have a question for Jason Gore, you're welcome to call in this morning. He's a candidate for Lake County Sheriff. We've had Steve Flores on. We've had Maria Trajkovic on. They're also candidates, so want to give just a little clarification. I think it's very important for people to get to know who the candidate is for sheriff, because the Lake County Sheriff affects every community. I mean, we're in Hammond, and Hammond has one of the larger departments. And I know you're very familiar because I know I have a lot of friends that are Hammond police officers, and they've mentioned you. But the fact is that the Lake County Sheriff's Police Department really supplements and cooperates and assists every other department in Lake County. They have a crime lab. They have manpower shifts where they can provide that assistance when it's needed just about anywhere. So it affects law enforcement and public safety throughout Lake County.
That's correct.
And I think we have a caller. So no, we don't. Okay, good. I thought you gave me a signal. We did. So again, if you want to call, please do so. So you decided, again, after a very very rewarding career, a very impressive career in federal law enforcement, but also local law enforcement, to retire and now run for Lake County Sheriff. And as I said before, it's an organization that works with every other department in Lake County. You can't be, let's put it this way, you can't be in law enforcement and not work with the Lake County Sheriff's Police Department, right? I mean,
yeah, the Lake County Sheriff's Department has a lot of assets, right? And assets that our local and state partners do not have. So they're a force multiplier in whatever the action or investigation is. They bring a lot to the table. They have unique expertises in these areas, and they are there to be a force multiplier, and they are.
Looking at the department, let's say you get elected. Mm-hmm. Any special projects, ideas, programs that you want to bring about to the sheriff's department that you'd like to see as sheriff?
Well, the one thing that I learned very, very quickly working for ATF is the need for intel-led policing, and understanding that the efforts that law enforcement does these days need to be focused around intel and making sure that we are policing for impact, not for statistical outcome. So what I'm trying to say is it's making sure that we are on the X, that we are investigating the right persons, that we are in the right areas when we need to be to really make the greatest impact. Nothing takes the place of a patrolman driving down the street and seeing something with his or her eyes. But I have to tell you, being able to help patrolmen and detectives and narcotics units, work more efficiently using intel so that they can direct their assets towards the right people, make the biggest difference and impact in a community. So that will really be where you're going to see a lot of focus for me, is just intel.
And that intel includes all the technology, because, for example, you and I were talking off the air, the situation in Hammond. Hammond Police has done a phenomenally good job of solving, I shouldn't say solve, but investigating this tragic incident in Hessville Park. And one of your comments off the air was they've got a lot of technology that helps them do that. So that technology basically, as you said before, it's a force multiplier. It assists smaller departments that maybe can't afford to have that technology. Hammond can, but not every department can. But the Lake County Sheriff's Department would be able to provide some of that technology and that intel.
Correct. You have to understand that, the thing that makes intel work is it actionable, is it credible, and is it quick? And making sure that we get intelligence out on the street that is, credible and actionable quickly is important. And then sharing that information. It does us no good. It does no police agency any good to hoard intelligence. Criminals do not know borders, and neither should we. And we need to work together in a uniform manner and making sure that criminal intelligence is disseminated. And by and far it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But making sure that is a priority and a strategy to get this out and to get it into the right hands so we can, really affect public safety.
Lynette gave me a signal. We have a caller. So, we've got 3 callers. So we've got a couple of people who want to talk to you, Jason.
Sure.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I missed the party that you're running on.
I'm running as a Democrat, sir.
Wow. they don't have much of a history of being pro-cop. I mean, and the current sheriff, for example, he was a great field cop too. I mean, he was very aggressive on drug enforcement and so forth. But the Democrat Party establishment, they just kicked him around. Whenever he ran for sheriff, they put him out of Slobovia kind of thing. And the only reason he's there is because of the previous sheriff is in a federal slammer, and they needed to fumigate the office, and so they needed to put a clean gene in there. I don't think they like him very much, and never have.
But Walt,
you sound like a great cop. I mean, what makes you think that you're going to?
Walt, let me ask this. I mean, Jason, you know, I think you said before you grew up here. You're a realist. You know that Lake County Sheriff generally is a democratically held position. So I mean, Walt, doesn't that kind of answer your own question? I mean, if you're running for Lake County Sheriff, chances are in this county you're going to run as a Democrat, aren't you?
Well, I mean that's their decision. But my point is, he sounds like a great cop, and I don't think that carries a lot of currency with in a situation where so many of the politicians have gone to the federal slammer over the years. I mean, do they really want a great cop, uncorruptible great cop, to put in that office? And they may be the target. What can I say?
Well,
sir, if I can answer the question like this, is first of all, I'm running as a Democrat because I am a Democrat. It's if you look at my voting record going back 15, 20 years, that's all I voted. As a federal agent, I would never reveal what my political affiliation was, just because I couldn't. It was my job to be agnostic, and I didn't. And that put me in contact, as part of my job, with politicians on both sides of the fence. But I am a Democrat. I'm running as one because that's what I am. I've not had any of the negative things that you're speaking of within the party since I've announced. It's been I've been warmly received by everybody, and I will tell you, from the men and women that I've spoken to, DRR, all they want is just safe streets, and they want a sheriff that they can believe in and somebody that has integrity, and that's pretty much consistent on both sides. Anybody that I meet, either DRR, that's really what they're telling me.
Walt, thanks so much. We have some additional callers, so we're going to move on. And again, I think the issue is we're electing a sheriff. I don't look to see what their party affiliation is. I want to elect the best person. 845-1100. We've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Gore.
Sir.
I'm a Gary resident. First, thank you for your service, and good luck to you in your future endeavors. And hope everything works out for you in retirement. So, it's been spoken in the past that being a Gary resident, that the Lake County Sheriff's Police was thinking about putting a field office in Gary. And I think now more than ever, since the big buzzword is presence, right? You have to have presence in a city or town or neighborhood or local neighborhood. Would you consider, and not just seasonal beach patrols, but bringing a field office, if the funds are there and it could be financed, bringing a field office, because we already have a pretty good relationship, the Sheriff's Police, with GPD. So is that something that you would you consider? And there's my question, and good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Would I consider? The answer is yes. But can we do it smartly? Understanding that if you were to open up a facility, it has to be staffed. It has to be available 24/7. And, can we do this and do it correctly? I would much, if we can, I would. You got to understand that, Gary and county are always going to be tied together. There's so much overlap of the areas that they police, and they've always had a close relationship. And having a bigger footprint there, when I'm talking, Gary, would be important to both, GPD and also to us,
Yeah, the caller hung up to listen.
Oh, okay. And I think that would be, an important final step, but we have to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row leading up to that, and then opening something. So to answer your question, the answer is yes. I would be interested in opening up something, albeit it would probably be a final step of a plan between the Sheriff's Department and Gary PD.
845-1100 is the number to call. We have another caller, so we're going to take that call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning there.
Good morning.
Let me just ask you one question, then I'll ask. What is it, Jason? Is that his name?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. Did you get a stray dog and a shelter dog, or did you go out and buy a breed dog?
Did I get a? So I have a golden retriever and a Great Dane at home. My Great Dane is going on 11 years old, and she's getting older and moving much slower. And then I have about a year and a half old golden. His name is Maverick, and he is convalescing from a knee injury that he got because he's always on 10. I am on the board for Humane Indiana. That's
okay.
That is one of the philanthropic things that I do. I've been on the board there for, I would guess, about 7 years. It's been a great experience. I've met some great people. It allows me to use the other half of my brain. If I'm being honest, in being in law enforcement and kind of, always thinking in that mode. I got on the board with them, and it was a very welcome change in my life, and I'm happy that I did it. But yeah.
Okay, Jason. Jason. Now that question was for Tom because we know his story, but I have several for you. Okay. So
okay.
Just hold on. But I know he lost his beautiful dog, and then. Did you get a shelter dog, or did you?
Yes,
go
I
out
did. I got a shelter
there
dog. My shelter dog came from fetching tails, and my previous two dogs came from Humane Indiana. But let me just jump in and point out that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Lake County Sheriff also oversees the Lake County Animal Shelter, which
that is true.
Basically is the shelter that takes in a lot of the dogs and cats and animals that the other shelters in Northwest Indiana can't take in, or they run out of room. They transfer them to Lake County.
Yeah,
so
they're full.
Your background with Humane Indiana is going to resonate with a lot of dog and cat lovers.
Yes.
Well, I respect you more because you got a shelter dog. Okay, that makes me happy because I'm a dog lover and I see what's going on. So let's get back to Jason here.
Yes.
Okay, Jason, now, I'm old school, and I'm going to tell you, if we had patrol coming every certain time, like when I was a child, we knew they were coming, okay? We don't have that anymore. And also, the drugs in Lake County, I do 2 addiction groups. I know that you were at the walk this year for Patty Stovall. I know all about that. But the thing is, there's no warnings. We have no warnings going on like other counties do. Other sheriffs make announcements. We have nothing, okay? We should have. Okay, there's been 49 overdoses of people this year. It went down. It only went down because Narcan is so available. Okay?
I agree.
But there's so much drugs out there. It's just not fentanyl. And because we're so close to the border of Illinois, the kids in the school are getting these drugs. I don't know if you see the warnings or you don't get the messages from other parents. I do, okay? And it's been like 2 years that someone, because I'm on a lot of groups, the parents were sending me the messages.
So go ahead and ask, ma'am, if you can ask your question only because we've got 3 other callers, so.
Oh, come on, Tom.
Yeah, no, but...
it's just, what about the alert? It doesn't do any good unless we get some alerts here. And it's like, what's going on? There's a spike over here. There's a spike over there. We get nothing. And, we need something. This is Lake County, the second largest county in Indiana.
You're correct, ma'am. And that's where, having a robust intel unit, that's going to take data and information and coalesce that into, actionable intelligence and stuff that you can share within the law enforcement domain, but also with the general public, and making sure that the information that is disseminated it's been fact checked and checked, vetted, and it's actionable. So yes, it does fall. So these kind of notifications do fall into the plan that I'm putting together and highlighting intel-led policing.
And I want to thank the caller too. For 2 reasons. Number one, because what you do as far as working with counseling and support of those that have had drug addiction. And secondly, in support of animal shelters. So I want to thank you for that.
I'm all that in a bag of chips. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 845-1100. We've got a couple more callers. We're going to keep them brief, folks. Ask your questions, and we're going to hang up and let Jason answer. Good morning. You're on the air.
Jason, good morning.
Good morning.
A couple questions. Have you ever knowingly and willingly accepted payroll that you knew you were not entitled to?
No, I have not.
Are you currently being garnished on your payroll because you received payments that you knew you were not entitled to?
No, I am not.
I know a certain individual that is and has and other charges coming into his office. I'll keep it quick. The guy you're running against, Flores, he seems to think his best credential is his relationship to Oscar, not Oscar. Who's the current one?
Oscar
Martinez. Yeah, the tortilla guy. His claim to fame is that he knows Oscar pretty well and they're real good friends. What is your relationship with Oscar? What do you think about the job he's done? And if you want to comment on his past history coming into this office, you're more than happy. I'm more than happy to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Right.
I'm just curious, what's your relationship with the current sheriff?
All right, we're going to have you hang up and let Jason answer.
So, two observations. One, I'm not running against Oscar,
Right.
But he is my sheriff, and I am a taxpayer in this county. Mr. Martinez or Sheriff Martinez and I have a professional relationship. I don't dislike him personally. I do disagree with him, as he has disagreed with things on me, but we do have a professional relationship. When I was a resident agent in charge of the Maryville field office and the assistant special agent in charge, I would be in fairly regular communication with him and his command staff. He does have a sheriff's deputy assigned to the ATF task force, which I appreciate. Is an excellent investigator, and we're happy to have him. So I would probably categorize our relationship as professional. I've known him for a very long time. I can remember, we came on together. I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 years more than I do. But I knew him whenever he was a street officer, and so was I. So I don't dislike him, but we do disagree professionally.
Okay, very good. 845-1100. We have another caller, so we want to get all the calls cleared. Good morning. You're on the air.
Mr. Gore, good morning.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine.
As the past caller just said, are you ready for those eyes to be on you 24/7, both on and off duty, and to conduct yourself above reproach, knowing that your people are watching you every minute?
Well, listen, I think that anybody that gets this that is sheriff or in a leadership position has to accept that. You are as the sheriff, you're the forward-facing leader of law enforcement, and people are looking at you, and they want to have trust in their public officials, and they want to know that if things bottom out and get really bad, that they have a competent person at the helm that is going to guide them through it. It's that is the paramount. That is the contract between law enforcement and the community that they serve.
You and I both know you can have 70 cops in a schoolhouse in Texas, and the job can't get done. You need the right people in the right place. What are you going to do that?
Well, so it's the type of leader that I am is I am a servant leader. I believe that the most important assets are the people that work for you, and that's not going to change as sheriff. Making sure that we put the best man or woman in the job. Doesn't matter what politics, whether they supported me or not, or they're on this side of the fence or that, or they're friends. It does not matter. We need the best and most competent people in the positions that they are working in. And insofar as you can come in, you can be the professional that you are paid to do, and be the best at your job that you can do. You have room on my float. It's the process is going to be merit process. If you're going to get promoted, if you're going to have opportunities, it's putting the best person in the job, and that includes the command staff as well.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for the call. We've got to move on.
One more thing?
We've got to move on. Go ahead. Nope, we lost. Um, I find it's interesting because I think back in the day when I was growing up in Northwest Indiana, the people that ran for sheriff were basically not really qualified to do so, and we've got three candidates. We've talked to three individuals now. All three are in law enforcement. Okay, Maria is a woman running for sheriff. She'd be the first female sheriff. She's a longtime officer in the Lake County Sheriff's Police Department. Steve Flores is the chief of police in St. John, and I've been a longtime police officer and the son of a police officer. And then we've got you, who's been a local police officer, a federal agent, a very senior federal agent, and you all have those qualifications, which is a little bit refreshing because when I sit here and I think about back in the 1960s and 70s, the people who ran for sheriff were individuals that had no business being in the office, and it's progressed to the point that we now can attract someone like yourself to run for it. I want to give you the chance to give some closing comments, if you will. You've had a lot of calls, but there might be something. What do you want listeners and viewers to know why they should choose Jason Gore when they go in to vote next year? And we'll have you on. We'll have you all on again between now and then.
A vote for me means that you are voting for a better way. I'm bringing a unique set of skills and experiences into this position, and it's not going to be business as usual at the Sheriff's Department. We're not going to be doing the same things. We're going to do things differently. We're going to draw examples from some of the best law enforcement agencies across the country. We're try to adopt some of the best practices. We're going to develop and train and inspire the officers of the Lake County Sheriff's Department to be the most professional and hardworking group and reward them for those actions. That's really the biggest difference with me will be my leadership style, my ability to partner, and my focus on criminal intelligence. Those are going to be the big three things that you're going to see the most. And I believe wholeheartedly that that's going to be the pay and making Lake County a safer place to live and work.
All right, there you have it, folks. Jason Gore, a candidate for Lake County Sheriff. And I want to thank you for coming in. And
thank you for having me.
I'd like to have all three of you back because I think it's such an important position. People, listeners on the radio know, I've got friendships and relationships to a lot of police officers throughout the area. And you look at larger departments like Hammond, and could they operate on their own? They could, but they have great relationship with Lake County. They work with you all the time. You've got the Marine unit, for example, at the Hammond Marina. You look at Steve Shekel and what he does in Munster, and Steve's got a great department.
He does,
but again. He's the first one to say he can't operate as an island in Lake County, Indiana, and the Lake County Sheriff's Police is kind of that glue that pulls everybody together. John Sotelo and I have been friends for years. He's the chief of Whiting PD.
Yep.
Smaller police department, but they have to rely on Lake County Sheriff's Police for a lot of assistance, just as Griffith, just as Dyer, just as a lot of departments do. So it's an extremely important position, folks. It's one of the most important positions that you're going to vote for next year, and that's why I think it's so important to have the candidates on, and I'm going to have them all on again so that you can make a very informed decision about who you're voting for next year for Lake County Sheriff. So, Jason, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you, as one of the callers said, thank you for your past service.
Well, thank you.
All right. When we come back, John Doherty is going to be in the house, so keep it tuned right here to the morning call. You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana.